In this series of videos, we're going to look at the first really big topic of this unit, and it's finding the areas between curves. All right, so we're going to kind of break this into three different ways we can do this. All right, so just going back to geometry, how would you find the area of the shaded region? Well, you can find the area of this big rectangle by just multiplying 30 by 28. You can find the area of the triangle by doing 1/2 base times height. And if you take the big area of the rectangle and subtract away the white part, you're going to get the blue part that you want. So you take the big area, subtract the small area, and you get the actual area that you want. And we're going to use the same kind of concept when we start doing these areas between curves. Right, so how can I find this shaded region here? Well, we're not going to be able to find it directly, but we do have this thing called an integral. An integral helps us find an area with the x-axis. All right, so I could find this purple area. Right, everything under the purple I could find using an integral. And then I can find everything under the green function using an integral. And if I take the blue and I subtract away the green, I'm going to get left over what I want. And that's exactly how we're going to find the area between two curves. So we just take we're going to use an integral, and we just take the bigger area and subtract away the smaller area. And what is the bigger area going to be? It's always going to be the function that's on top. So this gives us this formula. If we have some region and f of x is on top and g of x is on the bottom, we just take the integral, right? Because the integral is going to give us area, and we take the top function and we subtract the bottom function. All right, so that's really the whole formula you need to know to find the area between two curves. You just take the integral, because that's area, at the top minus the bottom, and that basically takes the bigger area, subtracts away the stuff I don't want, and gives us the stuff I actually do want. All right, so let's look at some examples. All right, so we want to find the area of the region bounded by y equals 2x, y equals x, and x equals 3. So if I were to think about the graph of this, all right, y equals 2x is just a line with slope 2. Y equals x is a line with slope 1. And x equals 3 is a horizontal line. All right, so it's telling me to find this area in here that's bounded by those. All right, so to do that, I'm going to take the integral. Where does my area start? It starts right here at 0. Where does it end? It ends at 3, because that's kind of the cutoff point on the right. What's the top function? The top function is the one I drew in red, is the one with the bigger slope, that's 2x, minus the bottom function, that's x. And that is the formula for the area that we could find there. And then we would take the antiderivatives. That's going to be x squared minus x squared over 2, evaluated from 0 to 3. Plug in 3. Oops. I was already doing the squared before I actually plugged it in. So 3 squared minus 3 squared over 2. Minus when I plug in 0. When I plug in 0, all the x's are just going to go away. So I'm just going to get 9 minus 9 halves. 18 over 2 minus 9 halves is 9 halves. All right, so the area between these curves is 9 over 2, 4.5. But you can see the basic idea of you figure out where you start, where you end. Those are the kind of values of your integral. You take the top function, subtract the bottom function. All right, so find the area of the region bounded by 1 minus x squared and y equals 1 minus x. So we actually do these in class. We'll have little pictures to help us. But if you graph 1 minus x squared, that's this kind of downward parabola like this. And 1 minus x is this line that goes like this. All right, so the region between those curves is this region here. This one, it doesn't necessarily give us, and by my picture you might be able to kind of tell what the values are going to be, but it doesn't actually tell us where the place starts and where it ends. So we actually have to figure out those ourselves. And where do we start and end? We start where these graphs are actually hitting each other, so we start when they're equal to each other. This is a very common thing in these types of problems. You got to figure out where your area starts and finishes. They start and finish where your graphs hit each other. So I can add x squared to their side, and the 1's are going to cancel, factor out an x, and I get x equals 0 and x equals 1. All right, so you can tell that from my graph, kind of 0 was the starting point, and that ends up being 1. So my integral is going to be from 0 to 1. Take the top function is my red function, which is 1 minus x squared. Subtract off the bottom function, which is 1 minus x dx. And you could simplify here or do all your antiderivatives and simplify later. I would probably simplify here if you're actually going to have to do it by hand, because it's going to be 1 minus x squared minus 1 plus x. And you can see these 1's are actually going to cancel, so it makes it a little bit simpler. Because there's less stuff to do. So then I would do, I have to write the balance again. All right, now I would do the antiderivative. It's going to be negative x cubed over 3 plus x squared over 2. Evaluate from 0 to 1. And I plug in the top value. I subtract when I plug in the bottom value, plug in 0, everything's going to be 0. So I get negative 1/3 plus 1/2, which is negative 2 over 6 plus 3 over 6, which is 1 over 6. So my final answer, that area, is 1 over 6. All right, but you can see the basic idea. Figuring out where your area starts and finishes is a very common thing, having to set your equations equal to each other. All right, then you take the integral of the top function minus the bottom function. When you're given a picture, you basically just do top minus bottom. Sometimes you're not given the pictures, you gotta kind of figure out what the graph's gonna look like to figure that out. One thing you do is like plug in numbers. So I plugged in, I know it starts at 0 and ends at 1, so I can plug in like 0.5. 1 minus 0.5 squared is 0.75. 1 minus 0.5 is 0.5. So that tells me that this function's on the top because it's a bigger number. So that's another way you can figure out which function's on the top. So here's one for you to try on your own. I find the area bounded by y equals 3 minus x, y equals 6 plus 2x, and the y-axis. Again, it might be helpful to kind of use a calculator to graph it to see what it looks like, and then try to do your calculations from there. All right, but go ahead and pause the video and try this one on your own. All right, here's the answer I got with one mistake. So when I did all my work, I got down to negative 3/2. And it definitely doesn't make sense for this area to be negative because there's an actual area between two curves. All right, but let's look at the setup. So this picture here gives you our lines, and this area is this black area in between those two lines and the y-axis. We know it's going to end at the y-axis, which is x equals 0, but we don't know where it starts. It starts at this point here where they meet. So the first thing I had to do was set these equations equal and figure out that is at -1. So now I know my integral is going to start at -1 and end at 0. I do the top function, which in this case was actually the blue function, 6 plus 2x, minus the bottom function is the red function, 3 minus x. I did some simplifying, distributed the negative, and combined my like terms. That way there's just less stuff to take the antiderivative of. All right, so up to here. And then I take my antiderivatives, I plug in the top function, and plug in the bottom function. All right, and here's where I made a mistake. All right, just copying down from this line to this line, I accidentally switched the bounds from -1 to 0 to 0 to -1. So I plugged in -1 first and 0 second, which I should have done it the opposite way. So these two things should be flipped. It should be 0 minus that, 0 minus that, 0 minus that, which turns my answer to positive 3/2. So once you recognize the mistake, the answer actually makes sense as positive 3/2. I just wanted to show you the mistake as well. A very small thing I did when I was solving it, but it gave me an answer that looked like I did everything wrong, when really it was just one small thing I did wrong.